Hey everyone, happy Baby Name Monday. My name is SJ if you're brand new, and this week's name list is so gorgeous. They are breathtakingly beautiful girl names that are also really unique. So they're from all over the kind of name list, forums, websites, history books, everywhere I get my name inspo from basically, and I've just kind of been scribbling away some names that I think are so special, and they're all on this list. There's over 50 of them, and I've been doing the same for boys as well, so don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, to come back next week for the boy list and also to access the whole backlog of baby name lists, because if you are naming a baby, I'm a girl. I'm a full-time baby name consultant, don't you know? And if you need daily name inspo, you can find us at Baby Name Envy, the Instagram, and there's also a podcast where we actually answer your real life name dilemmas. You can have a listen to that as well and get involved in becoming a bit of a baby name consultant with me, and helping other mums out, because it is so hard to pick a baby name that you're going to love forever, and it's never too early to get your name right. So I will go through my name list because I've gone long this time. Sometimes I do short lists with lots of depth. This time I'm going to go as fast as I can through all of the name meanings, because there's over 50. So the first one, and they're in no particular order, but the first one is the name Avalon. I really love it. It means island of apples, and I just absolutely love everything about this name. I love the meaning. I think it is so pretty written down, and I think in a sea full of Avas, Evas, that V sound is so popular, but she could be Ava. That's what I thought was quite clever about this name. She could just be Ava, but she's got that Avalon name if she wants to be a bit more unique. It gives you that flexibility as you get older to play with your name and how unique or safe you want it to be. So I love the name Avalon. The name Ayla, they're not an A to Z, but the name Ayla is one I really love. I think again, with Ayla being so high at the top of the chart, you want something more unique, which is why I clicked on this video. I love Ayla, and it means a halo of light around the moon. So it's got that sort of whimsical, magical stardust sprinkled all over the name Ayla, and I just think it is really special and really, really gorgeous. The next name I have is the name Solvay. So if you heard this name before, it's a bit different because it's a harder one to pronounce from seeing it written down, Solvay. It's Scandinavian roots, and it means the strong house. And at the moment, I'm really drawn towards cozy names. I guess I'm getting into autumn a bit, those names that kind of mean home, house, cocoon, protection, that type of name. I'm really into them. A bit hygge, aren't they? So yeah, I just think that Solvay, again with that strong V that we love from Olivia, so unique, so pretty, and I like Sol as a nickname meaning sun. So all of these names have something a bit like that about them, that they can sort of play around with them a little bit, but it may not be one on your radar. The next name is the name Bohm. So I love this name, absolutely love it. I don't know if I'd never be able to convince my husband to use it. He's a real traditional name and I'm the wacky one. But Bohem actually means, you know, Bohemian, and Bohemian was actually a place in France. There was a city of Bohemia, and it attracted lots of people who had the same sort of, oh, hello, life philosophy, which is all about being free-spirited, being creative, being very heart-led. And I think Bohem is just such a pretty name, and it could even be a really unique middle spot. So you could be like an Annabelle Bohem, just sounds so beautiful, and Bo again as a gorgeous little shorter name. I've got the name Gloria, and I really love the name Gloria. It kind of fits in with those modern virtue names that are really back with a bang. So like True, Honour, Hope, all of those are some more traditional ones. Faith, they were around for a long time, but Gloria, I feel like with the A ending, which is so popular at the moment, just sounds so modern but vintage at the same time, and no one is really using Gloria. So it's kind of got so much going for it. I just think it's so pretty, don't you? Just so a little weird little gem that is kind of like under everyone's radar. It doesn't quite fit on a vintage list, but it's perfect. The name Vega is almost the opposite because it's so modern, and Vega is the brightest star in the sky, and we've gone lunar. I was really said Luna is, it's not over. It's not over. Luna's not over, but it's not the unique up and coming name. Even Nova, which means new star, is really popular, but I really am into Vega at the moment. I think it just looks really cool written down. If you want something a bit more edgy and unique again, but it also had a double meaning. So in Spanish, let me know if you're Spanish, if this is true, it means dweller in the meadow. So I kind of like the fact that it's got the nature side of it, and it's got the kind of surname side of it. and it's got the kind of star side of it, so tons to love about the name Vega. I really like the name Cassette. It's so pretty. It means little thing in French, Cassette, and it's from Les Mis, and I just always love it. I think it's so pretty, and French names are really having a moment. I have done a whole French name list a little while ago, and we'll find it on the full playlist, which is linked below if we're really into French names. But Cosette, I just think really nice. Colette is also really pretty, but we talked about it recently, and I thought Cosette, really special, something about it. I really love the name Delaney. What do you think of Delaney? I don't know why, I've always liked it. It's a bit more fash-packed to me, a bit more stylish in this list, but it's so unique and so wearable, but easy to pronounce and say, which is a really good thing about it. And it means from the alder grove, so again it's got a nature meaning, which I always really like. I think it really softens the name up and gives you that sort of prettiness and that whimsical vibe to it. Delaney, what do you reckon of it? Do you know a little Delaney? Very similar is the name Della, which we all had a bit of a crush on recently, didn't we? We put it on another name list and everyone was like, oh my gosh, I really like it. It's just sort of one of those that's coming up, and I think because Ella, I can say that has been done. I think we've done Ella now. Beautiful. No, nothing wrong with using a popular name, but if we're looking for something unique, and that's why you're here, then Della, so pretty, and it means a small valley. So again, really nice. And I think Dell is really pretty as a nickname as well. Really low L sounds. It's so gorgeous always for boys and girls. Della is a really unique one. The next one is the name Elysian. So we really like Elysian. It's a Welsh name. Oh, I just think it's so pretty, really unique and unusual. You can't really go wrong with it because it's just so special, and it means elm. So again, it's got the nature meaning to it, Elysian. I just think it's so gorgeous. And then a name that I've really liked recently is the name Farrah. So I always think of obviously Farrah Fawcett, and it's quite 60s. Is she 60s? She's more 70s vintage vibe, Farrah. But I just think it is so special and just looks so nice. Don't you think? With a double R, just looks so pretty. I love names that end in the H, probably because I was Sarah. It's a bit of an evolution of Sarah, isn't it? And I love the meaning of it. So it means happiness and joyfulness. So I thought if you were called like Farrah Joy, that's so nice. Joy is a really like hip middle spot at the moment. You're seeing a lot of joys in the middle, but a Farrah Joy, which means happiness and joy, is like the most epic name ever. Also have Goldie. Absolutely love the name Goldie. It's just so special. It's very, very out there. But colour names are doing their thing at the moment, and it really is just a strong colour name if you want to. So we sometimes talk about it could be a nickname for something like a dawn or an aurora, which is the goddess of the dawn, and then you can go Goldie. But I love it by itself. If you were brave enough and you're here for a brave name, then go with Goldie. Similar for the next one, the name Wild. Now this is really having its day on forums and sort of people popping on their list. So it used to be Wilder, which has kind of come up for boys and still quite an outside name for boys, not as Hunter went crazy. I feel like Wilder might be going crazy this year, but Wild then just with the E by itself seems to be a bit more popular and maybe a bit more gender neutral, but really nice for a girl, whereas Wilder seems a bit more masculine, potentially. I think all of these, you know, we're very fluid and open with our genders and our names at the moment, but Wild, what do you think of it? It's so cool, isn't it? So cool. I popped this name on, see what you think of this name. This might be controversial, but the name Bobby. I've always liked the name Bobby for a girl. When I was little, it was one of those names that I liked. Funnily enough, I don't know why on earth, but I really like it for a girl. Bobby, and I just was like, oh, I'm going to put it on my list because I've never had it on a list before, I don't think so, and it's a Germanic root name which is really popular and it means bright or shining, Bobby. So I just think it's super trendy for a girl, a bit like, you know, Nellie's been around for so long as well, so Bobby feels a bit like that vibe to me. But what do you think of it? Are you like, oh my gosh, no? Juniper. For a while, I remember when I was obsessed, if you've been here for a while, I was obsessed with the name Juniper for a little while. It's a berry, juniper berry, and I think it's so lovely. I actually love June as a nickname, just very simple vintage nickname, and Juniper's really nice. It's always one that got away from me, that one. Bit sad about it. And the next name is so special, it's the name Elysian. So the reason this is so special is because I did a consultancy live on Baby Name Envy Instagram with a beautiful couple over in France, and one of the names I said was Elysian, and they've just chosen it. So we have Welcome to the World Elysian, and they chose it for their daughter, and it's so nice. It means blissful, but it refers to the Elysian fields, which is the Greek place of paradise where you would go to, this paradise fields, Elysian fields. So I love that. I actually love the name Elysian fields. Wouldn't that be cool? Elysian. So pretty, and I'm just so never been happier than to see a little Elysian arrive in the world. It's unreal that they chose it. And another name I recommended for them, which popped into my mind, which is why it's like next to that, was the name Winifred. So that was on their list because Winnie is having its moment, as we know. If you're in the name world, Winnie is about to boom. It's the new Lottie, basically, Winnie. But Winifred, I really like it because I think you could go then with Freddie for her nickname, which is super cool. And it's a kind of a bonus name, but it's the same name as Guinevere, which I love. And I did another consultancy recently, a couple, and they were going to call their daughter Gemma, and they were like, oh, it just hasn't landed. They wanted something more unique, and I was like, what about Guinevere? And they went with it. It's quite different from Gemma. Guinevere, which is the Welsh version, but if you like Winnie, either of those, I mean, I would go Guinevere personally, but my husband would probably go Winifred. And I just really like it, and it means, again, fair or pure. It's just an outsider choice. Like Wilf became so popular, but Winifred hasn't come back yet. So if you're looking to be an early adopter of a cool name, go with Winifred or Guinevere. Oh, this name is so beautiful. The name Adelpha. Adelpha. I just obsessed. It means beloved sister. So great for like twins, siblings, of course. Adelpha. So gorgeous. Just can't stop saying it. Can't stop looking at it. The name Devin is really nice. We featured this on the Instagram recently, and it means poet. So I think that's really cool. I love the name meaning of it. Some people, Devin, see it as kind of like a darker, more gothic type of name, Devin. What do you think? Whereas I see it as a real sort of outdoorsy, but it's a strong name. It is a strong one, but it's got that V again, which is really popular. I love the meaning of poet. The name Samara, isn't that pretty? If you like those sort of longer names, or we're looking to balance a shorter name, so if you were like a Samara Joy or an L Samara, you know, if you've got a short syllable, or if you think a long middle or first makes a nice bounce to it. Like imagine Samara Maeve. That sounds cool, doesn't it? And it's an Arabic name, and I always have the meaning of it because it means nighttime talk, a nighttime chat, and it's just so romantic, such a romantic name, just so evocative. It's beautiful. The name Avani, which means new earth, really fits on this list as well. Again, a great alternative with a V. The name Isabeau, I love, it's an alternative to Isabel, which is right at the top, Isabeau. Isn't it nice? So unique, so pretty written down. It means God is my promise, but again, just a perfectly beautiful name. All these names just feel to me, can't describe what comes in my mind with all these names, just a sort of a real, almost like a romantic heroine type of name, aren't they? Maybe that's what I should have called it. Oh, but what do you think of this? This is why it's controversial, because I have a vision of what I think fits into it, and then sometimes it's different to other people's, because I love the name Myrtle. I love it. To me, it is so cool. It's just like that kind of really beautiful romantic heroine who's probably in a more indie chick film, you know what I mean? And it's a Greek name, and it means star-like white flowers. Myrtle, the myrtle flowers, it's a floral name. It's just so cool. Is she called Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter? Maybe that's put people off it. But it's been around for so long. It's been used since the 19th century, Myrtle. And I think it's so gorgeous. I know it rhymes with turtle. I know, but I still love Myrtle. The name Sequoia is really lovely. And again, it's something that has been trending recently on quite a lot of lists. Really nice. It's a tree, but it's a giant redwood tree. So it's a bit stronger, Sequoia for girls. And it's so pretty written down. It is a tough one. It's a harder one to spell and pronounce. But if you're up for that type of a name, then you can't go too wrong with Sequoia. The name Valley. What do you think of it spelled like this? Valley. I think it's really trendy. Really perfect, Valley. It means a winding plant, actually, spelled like this, rather than a kind of a deep valley in a mountainside. Is that where they are? Valley, but I really like it. Olympia, Really, again, these names are all quite strong now. Olympia, that was after Mount Olympus, so perfect for the Olympic Games being on right now. If you're into sport, you could have an Olympia. But I think it's a really beautiful name and a really strong alternative to Olivia. The name Lane by itself, a one-syllable name with a Y in it. So this is something I've recently started to think about, is Lane with a Y. I've always liked Lane, but I've always felt it was missing something maybe a bit too simple. And then I thought, adding the Y, suddenly I really like it, and obviously means a little pathway, and I think it's just very evocative and beautiful again. Or would you ever use the name Atlas, but for a girl? So Atlas is really beaming for boys. It's almost, I think it's inside the top 400 now, which is insane because it's such a unique name. If it keeps its trajectory, it's going to be a pretty everyday name. But Atlas for a girl, why not? Because it's become a thing. Obviously Atlas was the mythical guy who had to separate heaven and the gods and earth, and the other way around. But I love the name Atlas, and I think it would make a really trendy girl name. Oh, I've lost my list. Everdeen, such a cool name. If you're wanting something that's that mixture of it being like an Eva and quite gentle, but then the Dean at the end makes it quite strong, Everdeen. There's like Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, but as a first name by itself it really works, and it means a farmstead. So it was basically like people who lived within a farm. So it's got a name, it was a surname, his first name, Everdeen, so you could easily go with it, and it's really cool. Even if you've got a Dean in your family, it's quite a cool way of using it. Theodora. What do you think of Theodora? So a lot of us like Dorothea, but Theodora the other way around, it's a little bit more rare and a bit more offbeat. And then you've got Teddy as a nickname, which is super trendy. So that's what Robbie Williams did. But I really like it as a Victorian name as well. And I feel like these Frederica, Winifred, Theodora, Theodore's had its huge boom for the boys, and it normally will bounce over to the girls soon. So I would get in there quick with Theodora. Next one is a crazy one, but it's the name Oath. So the reason I put this on this list is, again, I was chatting to a mum recently, and this was her middle spot. I've never heard it before, and I thought, wow, like, it's really beautiful. Written down like that, isn't it? Oath. Like with promise and true and all of those come in, why not Oath? What do you think? Is it a bit like Ruth to you? Does it have name vibes, or is it too much of a word? Fascinated to know. Let me know in the comments below. And what I was thinking you could do in the comments below as well is pair these up. So like do like a first and the middle, like would you do like Theodora Oath? Does that sound really good? Like do like little combos. I would love to read those below. Opal means jewel. Again, just a real vintage throwback, but probably more beautiful than Myrtle. If you're not on board with Myrtle, Opal is where I'm going with. O is a really cool name, a really cool letter. We all love the letter O for names. It's one of our most popular name beginnings with Oliver and Olivia, and I just think that Opal is just so stunning. Oh, Magnolia also has the O in it. Magnolia, absolutely love it as a unique flower name. Or Fable. So why everyone's going mad for Mabel, you might want to jump to Fable, which means a story, as you know. And again, Faye is a great short name, and Faye means fairy. So if you're looking for a whimsical, unique, beautiful girl name, Fable might just hit you right in the heart. I absolutely love it. A name we came up with here actually, and probably a good year ago, so it was worth me mentioning, was the name Locket. Doing this, I actually bought a locket, and I don't know where I've put that, but as a name. So Lachlan is a really popular boy name, but Locket just seems to suddenly really work. It's out there, it's a brave one, it's not an actual used name, but it works as a name. And I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, I might mention it again. Similar to the name Dusty, which is now getting a bit of pickup. So like Dusty Springfield vibes, Dusty. So some people see this. I feel like for boys, this is a cowboy name. But I feel like for girls, it's like a dusty pink kind of colour name. Very, very beautiful, kind of muted colour name to me. What do you think of it? The name Indra means possessing raindrops, and it's stunning. Indra, so indie everywhere. Loads of people have got an indie, and you might love it, but it might have been pinched by somebody you know. So why not go with Indra? Isn't it nice? And possessing raindrops is just the most beautiful name meaning. You can imagine doing like little clouds around her nursery and rainbows. What do you think of the name Bravery, but for a girl? So it's on a lot of boy name lists as a virtue name, but actually I thought Bravery, with the ERY ending, sounds very feminine and a super cool name for girls, and takes on a different type of a meaning, Bravery. So I've popped that on here. I love the name Skyler. particularly because it's Dutch for scholar, which I really like about it as well. So it has that sort of poetic and written literary type of vibe to it, once you know that, but it actually means eternal life, or like the sky itself. So it's perfect for this name list. It's like the poster girl really for this name list, named Skyler. I absolutely love it. What about the name Tiggy as a nickname as first name? So it used to be short for Antigone. So you could go with a full Antigone and shorten it to Tiggy, but I love Tiggy by itself, where it kind of means tiger on some forms, but really it's just one of those sort of really trendy nickname as first name names, and it's often used now just as a standalone name. The name Quinlan is a cool one, isn't it? It's actually normally on boy name lists, Quinlan, but Quinn, really popular a few years ago for our girls as well, and I quite liked the Quinlan. Sounds really pretty. We're making it a bit longer. It's got a strange meaning where it sort of means fair or attractive, which is, I don't know why that's strange, but just Quinlan. But I just really like the sound of it, and I feel like if we're after something a little bit unique, and maybe you've heard of Quinn but weren't sure it was complete, then Quinlan is a legit name that's out there. Ekko. I know some of you might think, is Ekko really a name? But it is. We've actually got a community member called Ekko, and it's a really lovely name. It is a Greek mythology name as well, so it's on that list, but I just think it's really pretty. It is really out there, a hard one to use, but can't not put it on a list because of that. And then the name Kiki, which means double happiness, and you'll probably see like Gigi and a lot of names like that are getting their day, having their moment, and Kiki, double happiness, is just so beautiful and too beautiful not to be in use. So we have to get a few more Kikis in the world, please, because it's so cool. A name that my sister absolutely loves. My sister is my co-host on the podcast, and she came across this name and was like, oh my god, I love it, and it's the name Davey. So it's kind of the vintage, it's a vintage name actually, it's a quite an old-fashioned name, Davey, and she was just like, oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. What do you think of it, Davey? I mean, Dove is really nice, Davey. Yeah, so basically I looked into it. So have you heard the name Duffy, which is more of a Gaelic name, Duffy? It kind of comes, all of them come from this line like that. So it doesn't really mean dove, it means more island. So it's an interesting one, isn't it, Dovey? See what you think of it. I put the name, this is a random one, but at the moment I've got a little crush on the name Emmy Lou. I don't know why. Emmy, I know, is really popular. It's just because I love this song. I've really got into Emmylou Harris recently, this kind of folk singer, and I just think, suddenly I'm just like, that is such a pretty name, Emmy Lou. One word, so it's not hyphenated, because I'm a Sarah Jane, I'm not mad on hyphenated names because I always found my name hard, but I do love Emmy Lou at the moment. And then recently we had a community member sent me her girl name, and it was the name Harvest. So I thought, wow, that's so beautiful, isn't it? Harvest. Never heard that in use before, and that's what she's going to name her daughter if her baby is a girl. She's not too sure yet. Thought she would love it if we shared it. Isn't it gorgeous? Harvest. Such a trendy, beautiful name. Abriel. What do you think of that? So like Gabriel, but without the G, Abriel. I found it on a French name list, and it means open and protected. So I thought it was so lovely, Abriel. Like Ariel, I've always loved, but I would always sort of avoid it because of the Disney vibes. But Abriel, I just think is so pretty, because I love the ending of that. The name Chantara. What do you think of that, Chantara? So unusual, really beautiful. It's got Thai roots, but it means moon water. So isn't that beautiful? So just imagine like Chantara, it actually seems perfect. When you know the meaning of it, it just seems to perfectly mean that. Like this dark lake with the moon over it, Chantara. So pretty, so spiritual. That's a really special one. The name Hero for a girl is out there in use. It's a Shakespeare name, and really, really beautiful. I think it works so well for boy or girl, but I do absolutely love it. And I've put the name Hyacinth, so a little bit back to where we were with Magnolia, but Hyacinth has just, to me, got such a rare beauty to it that it's just coming back into fashion. We did have a TV show back in the day, like Hyacinth Bouquet, she was called. Such an old show. I'm sure my parents used to like watch it. So it might have put the name out of style for our generation, but then we should bring it back in for the bounce. Like, why have a lily or a poppy? It's really lovely to try out a hyacinth or a magnolia because they're so much more unique. I love the name Solstice. It means when the sun stands still, and I'm a bit gutted again with Juniper that I didn't use solstice, because my daughter was born on winter solstice and we were married on summer solstice. So I'm like, how did I not make that link? I just think it is a very hippie name. It is very hippie. And I think my husband would have gone with it as well because of the meaning, solstice. So trendy. And then the name Ramon, which is very different, I know, and it's got a bit more of like the Stevie Nicks, Ramones type of vibe, the Smiths band name, but I've just really got a crush on the name Ramon at the moment. Ray, we've talked about a lot, and Rain, and Ramon just feels like a beautiful version of it. It means she who guards wisely, so you kind of get the sense again of a bit of an indie heroine with Ramon. Twyla, I wonder if Twyla's going to get more popular recently. It means light in dark places, like Twilight. But yeah, Everdeen would love this because she's obsessed with Twilight Sparkle. Maybe why I'm drawn towards Twyla, but it's a character in Schitt's Creek on Netflix. So those names tend to start to come up through the ranks afterwards. I'd be interested if Twyla has gone on some lists over the last few weeks. And the very last one is the name Bianca. So again, a bit of a rare gem, isn't it? Bianca might be one that's kind of fallen out of your radar. It means white or pure, but I'm really into it at the moment. I think like with that name, it just feels like real 70s retro beauty, a bit like a Farrah from earlier on. So those are my over 50, because I couldn't count how many I'd done. Beautiful, breathtaking girl names, unique girl names. Not 100% sure I'm going to call this name list yet. It just was that type of list to me that's been rumbling on. I've done the same for boys. So gorgeous. I can't wait to tell you the boy name list. That will be next Monday. So if you've listened all this way, do hit subscribe. That really helps me out to hit subscribe. Do share with a friend who is pregnant or loves baby names as well, and check us out over on Instagram. The podcast will be back soon, I absolutely promise. We're just getting dates in the diary to make sure we're recording the podcast all through for the rest of the year. So once we launch, there'll be one every Sunday but there's 20 episodes to listen to already. Do add your baby name combos in the comment section below. I'd love to read those and any more names you would add to this list, because this is such a great resource for parents to be, particularly your comments below, because you're such amazing namers. And I will see you next Monday. Bye guys.